to reach the potential of who you can be, you must actively push to become more. This step may sound obvious, similar to the first step, but I think a lot of people might get stuck on the first step and say, oh, I've decided who I want to be and I'm going to manifest, this person or this life or this job or this partner. And for me, this third step is all about, working towards those habits, those beliefs, those traits that you want to embody. And it does take work. Now, there's a way to do it where it can feel like you're just flowing and there's no effort. I suppose I speak a bit about that, the woo way, the way of water. It's like flow. But that can be quite hard to find, especially when you're starting off. If you're someone who has maybe had bad habits or lots of negative beliefs, or certain traits that you feel need a lot of work, it's not like you're going to get straight into the flow of being and becoming at the same time. So I think, for me, when I started on this journey, personal development journey, whatever you want to call it, back in my teenage years, late teens, I suppose I focused a lot on this step. It was all about pushing to become who I wanted to be. Tony Robbins was a big influence at the time. I remember listening to his audiobook, Awaken the Giant Within, I think it's called. And yeah, it was just like motivational, let's go. I was listening to a lot of motivational speakers. There used to be a video on YouTube I'd watch of Will Smith speaking about, I think it was made in 2009, or maybe it was earlier. It must have been earlier. And speaking about deciding who you want to be and then going out and doing that and becoming that. And I was really motivated to just go and push and work hard. And I used to have I still have quite good discipline, but back then I was very disciplined at a young age, where I would, be working out every day or be training football, playing Gaelic football. I would be, working on lots of different areas of my life simultaneously with great effort and discipline. Now, I still enjoyed myself and partied quite a bit in those years, but I suppose there was always, when I had this time to myself, I would actively be pushing to become the person I wanted to be. I suppose for me, the main driver was not feeling good enough and wanting to, I think mainly around women. I wanted to be able to, find the woman of my dreams. And I suppose I had the belief that if I found the love of my life, then my life would be sorted. That would be, so that was the end goal nearly, because I was probably feeling a lack of love for myself, and I wanted someone else to fill that hole that I felt inside. Now, obviously, I didn't know that at the time. I just thought all the movies and all the fairy tales, whether it was I can't think of any now, Cinderella, all those Disney movies were promoting the hero saves the damsel in distress, and I wanted to be the hero. Obviously nowadays we've moved away from that narrative somewhat, which is healthy, because it's kind of disempowering for women. Obviously they don't need us men to come and save them, but growing up, this was ingrained into me that you have to be this strong hero, warrior, good looking, smart, intelligent, all of these things. And I was I want to be that warrior hero guy, and then I will find the love of my life. And which served me quite well in some respects, because it did help me to push, and it gave me a vision to move towards. And I think that's so important nowadays. I know there's lots of young men who struggle to see a vision for their future because there's so much uncertainty in the world. there's maybe a lack of role models in the world, or people, there is role models out there, but maybe they're not good ones, and they have an inner conflict because they know they want to become something, but they can't see what that is. So for me, I was probably lucky. I watched so many Disney movies, so I had some sort of hero archetype to chase after. And yeah, while this served me, as I mentioned in the step 2, it was also important. For me, it was probably a slightly unhealthy chase, but whatever fuel gets you going. If you're running away from something, it can still get you to your destination. But maybe when you get closer to the destination, you can start to realize, okay, I'm running away here. Can I start to, move into step 2 and start to accept myself as well? But to get you started, sometimes this is the best fuel, desperation. I mentioned that in the book as well. The 3 fuels for growth. One of them is desperation, which can often be the most powerful. So what are you running away from? If you're in the desert and you haven't drank water in 3 days and there's a well, a couple of miles away, your desperation will get you to go get the water because you're moving away from the fear of death. So that's a very powerful motivator, and it can really get us going. My motivation was, to find the woman of my dreams. So to move away from loneliness and move away from feeling not good enough. But I suppose there's another motivation that would also maybe be inspiration. So that's more when you feel drawn towards something. So I like to see them as kind of these magnets. So like desperation is kind of pushing us away from something that we don't, like we're running away because we don't want to go near that thing, and inspiration draws us in. So if we can actually get those 2 forces of desperation and inspiration together, that's probably the most powerful driver. And then there's also motivation for the times when you don't feel inspired or desperate. You just need to actually self-generate this motivation to keep yourself going. And that's where habits come in, and that's where routine and discipline comes in. So again, in the start of the book, I go through lots of healthy habits that can really enhance your well-being, your life, your journey of growth. And then I suppose the steps are about putting these, exercises into practice. So like, how are you going to actually move towards who you want to be? And visualization is one of the key practices that I speak about in this chapter, and how I've used visualization to get a crystal clear picture of my future and imagine it as if it's in the present, and feel gratitude for that life as if it's happening right here in the present. And because I've been doing visualization for so many years, I almost now unconsciously am visualizing a lot of the time when I think about, for example, Wolf Academy, the organization that I run. When I think about that now, I've already in my mind, we're like global, we're around the world, and we're still early enough stages, but the belief that I've built from doing so much of this work, when I close my eyes, I can already see Wolf Academy around the world. So that's the power of visualization, when you can visualize something as if it's real in the present, feeling the emotions that are linked to that desired outcome, the emotions of who you are. So you can visualize, your dream self in 5 or 10 years and hold that vision tight. And you'll notice that you'll start to move towards that. You'll start to develop the habits that a disciplined person would have, or that a strong person would have, or a wealthy person, or whatever person you want to be. And the visualization practice, taking a bit of time in the morning to really clear that vision and start to rebuild those neurons, or reconnect the neurons in the brain to see who you want to be, that will really propel you moving towards this person. So there's a good bit in this chapter. I share some stories as well on this, but that's the general gist, is how are you going to move towards that person? And visualization is one of the key tools for that.